Oh, just a second.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FPL Banger Show. My name is Siva. I'm joined by Sam. Game week 1 finally here, Sam. How many drafts have you made?
3.
I've made 2.
We're really disciplined this year, right? I think I've
Every
basically
year?
changed my draft like once a week since I made the team.
We've shown discipline because every year we come in, we make like hundreds of drafts. You stress, you listen to way too much content. Well, I do this. I listen to the fan podcast from Coventry City. You do all this kind of nonsense, and in the end, it doesn't pan out. We started last season with Murillo and triple Nottingham Forest defense. Where did that take us? So this season, hands off. Yesterday, Community Shield, first match I watched of the entire preseason. I wasn't surprised at all. Arsenal winning, is what we do. But I'm also really happy because I see everyone's running away from Haaland. They all say, oh, we don't need Haaland anymore. He's finished because he's played one game of preseason and Maresca's a fraud. So are you selling all your Man City players?
I mean, Maresca is a fraud. I agree with that. But I think Haaland has also never scored in a Community Shield ever. So every year we do the same thing, right? And then, if I'm not mistaken, he has 8 goals in game week 1 alone, like over the past 3 seasons. So, as much as I would love to go without Haaland, right? Like you know me, long-time listeners of the pod will know, I do not like having like a 15.5 million player on my team. But there's just not much other striker options, and I got too much money.
I won't spoil because we are going to do our team reveals as we go along, and we'll discuss the options in each position. I won't spoil, where we're going to end up, but I can tell you this: the last time I watched a Community Shield and I got carried away was when I got Darwin Núñez in my Gaming 1 team instead of Haaland, and so that kind of tells you probably shouldn't read too much into it.
Agreed.
Now, teams on the screen. We're going to do this progressively. So we start off with goalkeepers and defense, Sam. I've got Kinski, Shaw, Robertson, Mosquera, Calafiori. You've got Kinski as well. Vuskovic, Maguire, Virgil, and Mosquera. Okay, let's talk about the most boring position, keepers. We didn't discuss this draft at all, right? We haven't really spoken, Sam, since the World Cup final, and we've ended up with the same keeper. Why is that?
I mean, he's 4.5. That's basically my reasoning. I have 2 keepers who are both 4.5 because they're the cheapest, most decent keeper, and kind of relevant, I guess, but we are both playing bench boost in Game Week 1. I don't know about you. I am
kind of spoiling the surprise at the end, but yes, we are both playing bench boost.
Yeah, so I basically just want like the cheapest possible starting keepers. But I think even then, independently, I think Kingsley is a good keeper. I mean, Spurs, despite being in a relegation battle for the past 2 years, are still quote-unquote top 6. De Zerbi apparently had them playing good football towards the end of last season. I somehow do not remember this, but apparently, according to the stats, they had really good like XGC and stuff like that. So I don't know, it's 4.5.
He's 4.5 and he's competing against Bern Leno, who plays against Chelsea in Gaming 1. He's competing against Verbruggen, who plays Villa in between 2 games for Brighton against Tromsø in the Conference League, I think. And then he's also competing against Carl Rushworth, Coventry. I mean, the 4.5s, Kinski is the standout. They've spent 200 million buying Matheus Fernandes and Sandro Tonali. I don't know if that's good use of your money, but still, it's got to be better than whatever they had before this.
And Van Heck.
Yeah, Jean-Paul Van Heck, Marco Senesi. I mean, at least they have strengthened the defensive area of the field. They haven't really bought anyone up top. But, I mean, it can't be that bad. And I read a stat today. Verbruggen had 130 points and Raya had 162. And so we can sit here and debate which keeper all day long, but the difference between the 4.5 and the best 6 million keeper isn't that big. So I think I'm happy to start off with the cheapest one and then figure out the best one later.
I agree.
If you were going to spend a bit more, Sam, would you consider Sané Lamens 5 million?
I would. I think if you're really looking for a United defender, right? And honestly, I know I have Maguire here, but none of the United defenders really stand out to me. Like, none of them are great at defcons. None of them are great at attacking returns. So you're relying on clean sheets, I guess, which goes around, and then bonus, but none of them really are great at bonus either. A lot have been said about Maguire's goal threat, but even then, like, is he really that big of a goal threat? I don't know. So then we have Lemons, who has been getting some bonus points, some saves. So I would consider it, but it's mostly just to shoehorn a United defender in.
Let's talk Raya, I guess, because I definitely had David Raya in my first draft. So I've dropped him out of this one just because of budgetary considerations. Would you ever pay 6 million for a keeper? I mean, I haven't done so since De Gea at his peak.
And the only reason why that worked was because De Gea was expensive, but getting clean sheets and getting saves and getting bonuses. Like, to me, you gotta have all three of those if you're gonna pay like top dollar for a keeper, which none of them can offer. It's almost always like better to go for a cheaper keeper who can get like two of the three, I guess. Saves, bonus, clean sheets.
Okay, so the reason I ask, and I think this is something you seem to have sort of minimized your coverage on, but it's about Arsenal defense, right? Even before the Community Shield, I was on triple Arsenal defense. As you'll see shortly, I can't do that anymore, but I'm still on double. I think a lot of people are keen on Raya just because they don't know which Arsenal defender starts. And I can sit here and tell you that I'm not sure which Arsenal defender starts. I've picked Mosquera and Calafiori, but Calafiori came off on 59 minutes against Man City. You could see that happening a few more times. Mosquera obviously is playing because of Saliba's injury, but in preseason, there were games where Hincapié started in central defense. So there is a universe, unlikely, but still could happen, where Hincapié
on the
plays
right side?
on the left. But still,
okay.
the fact that
That's
it is
because
happening,
Gabriel's
right?
not back yet.
I'm not so sure how wedded Arteta is to playing Mosquera every single game. I mean, I really don't know. And to be honest, Saliba's never been out for this long. I think he's expected back in December. So Mosquera, I think, for both of us feels like a safer route in. Let's talk about Calafiori then, because I had him before the game, and he's now even deeper into my team. Like, he's not going anywhere. How can you not have him?
I'm just not assured of his minutes. And I don't think, honestly, Arteta really likes him that much. Because Arteta is a conservative manager. And I can see many games where he decides, like, too much of a defensive liability, I'm going to play Hincapié instead.
Nah, man, I don't buy that. I mean, I get where you're coming from, right? Because we both saw the Champions League final, so we're thinking, oh, why didn't he start? But Calafiori's, I mean,
but even
he's
then,
had injury
like,
problems.
Last season, there were times where he was fit, but Arteta still preferred to play Hincapié. There were times where both of them were fit, and he just preferred to have Hincapié instead.
I guess it's a fair point. I'm not going to deny that there's no risk. What I would say is this: we're playing up to the first wild card, and I don't know about you, Sam, but I don't think that I'm going to last more than say 5 weeks without playing my wild card. And you've got GAMEWEEK 1 Friday night, Coventry City. You've got probably the third or fourth best attacking option if he starts for Arsenal, right? He was basically playing left forward against Man City. You gotta try that.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. My knees were strong. Of course, when I saw the goal in like how many seconds was it? Like 4 minutes.
25 seconds.
Yeah, 25. I don't know. But yeah. So of course the knees were tempted, but I'm staying strong. I'm quite happy with my defenders actually. So
okay,
yeah, I'm fine having Mosquera because I think his place is nil until Arsenal sign someone. Now, if they do sign Konsa or something like that, right, which is where all the rumors are, then I would reconsider this. But for now, I think Mosquera's place is nil. I think White's place is nil as long as Timber is still injured.
So why isn't Ben White in your team? Because I see a lot of people picking Ben White today. And the reason for this obviously is because Ben White had 10 DEFCONs against Man City by like 50 minutes, and the others had 10 combined. Of course, my answer to that is because he's playing Jeremy Doku, and not every week he's going to play a guy who likes to dribble but can't actually do anything with the ball. So
I just think
doesn't
centre
appeal
backs are the way to go. So that's why I don't have Ben White. If you noticed, all my team, every single defender in my team are centre backs.
I see that. We've gone quite different. And I was questioned about this on Twitter, but why I don't have enough DEFCON players. Now, my defense was just, I don't have the budget, and I don't want to be so boring. But you've gone really practical, Sam. You've got Maguire, Virgil, and Vuskovic. Obviously, Vuskovic, new signing for Brighton, who's apparently like some sort of DEFCON god from the Bundesliga.
And also scored 8 goals, like from set pieces. So, goal threat. DEFCON monster. Possible clean sheets, I guess, if Brighton, stay being Brighton.
And Maguire, I mean, is he worth 5.5 more than Luke Shaw?
I think so, yeah. Yes. That is my short answer as a United fan. Yes.
I'm not a United fan, so can you tell me this? Is Maguire actually nailed? Because he's competing with what, Euro, the Sandro,
and Heaven right now because everyone else is injured. So honestly, I think Heaven is a big DC monster. So if he can nail a spot, he'll be great. But he's not. He's not nailed. Maguire is nailed right now until at least Martinez or De Ligt comes back from injury.
Completely forgot about De Ligt.
Yeah. As to a lot of United fans, I think. But like I said earlier, I'm not that big on my Maguire pick. I am tempting to just go without United defense because I know it's the fixtures, right? The fixtures are so great. You want a United defender in, but fixture aside, in the vacuum, I do feel there are the other players who I would want in my team more than Maguire.
Since you've gone for DEFCON centre backs, I'm surprised you don't have Tariq Muharremovic from Leeds.
Yes, so that is one of the aforementioned player who I might, if it wasn't for Maguire's fixture, I would rather have.
Yeah, I mean, again, another sort of DEFCON monster from outside this league who's supposed to come here and just clean up. I did have Joe Rodon in one of my drafts.
I think Joe Rodon's a great pick at 4.5, cheaper than Mohamed. Can we just call him Tariq?
Yeah, let's go Tariq. Yeah. Apologies. Yeah, but the issue with Rodon, right, is they've just got so many guys. They've got Biol, they've signed Nico Elvedi, who's another centre back. They've got James Justin, who they play at centre back.
But apparently, according to what I've read, Tariq and Joe Rodon are nailed. And then Bijol is competing for that other spot, and Elvedi is mostly brought in as cover. That is,
and they have sold Pascal Struijk, so I guess that helps.
So and apparently, Leeds fans has been loving how Joe Rodon has been playing. He apparently bombs forward. I don't know. Like,
yeah, I saw that they called him Joe Salah or something like that.
Yeah. Well, and I think the biggest thing is that he's cheaper, right? So if you are really strapped 4.5 and you have a lot of faith in the Leeds defense, you think they can repeat or even improve on how they were last year, then yeah, I think Joe Rodon's a good pick. Tariq's a good pick. I have Virgil here, but mostly because I just have 6.5. And I'm honestly not that keen on Virgil. I may just move him to Tark and then just bang the 0.5.
It's crazy that I've not seen Tarkowski in more drafts because he's like guaranteed. You know what you get. He starts, he gets DEFCONs, and yet people just not keen, I guess. 6 million.
I think it's just the price tag, right? 6 mil does feel too much. But like you said, I guess some thought into it. And I feel like at the start of the season, we don't know who is going to be the DEFCON monsters, who's going to be great for us. But Tark is a known quantity. And at that price, you can just put it in first. And if someone else pops up that is better, you can just downgrade and move. So he's a good placeholder, I guess, where at least his floor is like 4 points every week.
Not at all keen on Andy Robertson, Sam. Can I not interest you in
No.
rolling back the years? Spurs have no other left backs. Liverpool have sold their best left back.
I'm keen on Jean-Paul Van Heck.
Oh yeah, DEFCON guy
Honestly.
again.
Yeah, DEFCON guy. But then, am I that keen to want to double up on a Spurs defense? I don't know.
I keep hearing this. So people keep telling me, oh, because we all got Kinski, we can't have a sec. At least I've never. Since when do we look at these things like that? It's independent.
That's true. That's true. That is true. I will say. So
Yeah.
yeah, I have all these other players that are on my mind, and I just have not shuffled the team around or put enough thought into it yet.
And apart from these defenders, right? We obviously have not mentioned any Man City defense, and I take it you're not going there.
I had Guardiola was Virgil before the Community Shield.
So there is some knee jerking going on, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same. We all saw the same comments, Guardiola is a pillar in the defense, blah, blah, blah. We're all like, yeah, come on. And then you realize, wait, it is a Maresca team. How many clean sheets are City going to keep this year? And they don't get DEFCONs because they are on the ball so much, DEFCON rate low. Yes, we all remember Guardiola from that, insane run where he was scoring goals like every week. But, not anymore, I think, right? Especially not the way Maresca wants him to play. He's going to be the defender who's way at the back. So there's no goal threat, no DEFCONs. So what are you paying for then?
Yeah, that's fair. I'm content to have Duke Shaw just because United's fixtures are so good to start off with. I know he's not a DEFCON guy, but I don't think any of the United guys are likely to get DEFCONs against Hull and Ipswich anyway. So I just want someone who's cheap, who hopefully gets some clean sheets.
Yeah. I see that. So that's why I am with Maguire as well. Like, he has some attacking threat, so there's maybe a bit more value, I guess, or it's worth paying the extra 0.5. But at the same time, if you ask me how many clean sheets do you think United can keep in the opening 5 fixtures, I would be happy with like 2, even 1. I have really low faith.
So pessimistic there.
So this is the point I'm saying. Like, am I just getting a United player, like trying to shoehorn one in, just because they have great fixtures? Not that I particularly think that any of them are actually good picks.
I think that's fine.
I see the fixtures. I'm just trying to throw one player in.
I think their
It's
fixtures
fine.
are good enough that you can afford to throw in a couple of players.
But at the same time, am I overlooking players who maybe doesn't have as good fixtures, but are just better picks overall?
Nah, man, fixtures, you got to go fixture. The only team that I would trust fixture regardless is Arsenal, right? And any other defense, I think you look at fixtures.
Yeah. So could I just like forget about United and find the money to upgrade Maguire to Calafiori, for example?
Yeah, that's definitely an upgrade. None of the 4 million defenders taking your fancy?
I have one. I think, you should have one, right? It doesn't make sense to not have a 4.0 player on your bench. I have Daryl O'Shea, but honestly, I just have not done that much research into any of them. And in one of my FM games, Daryl O'Shea did really well for me. So it's the first time I put in.
To be fair, Daryl O'Shea did score in their most recent preseason game for Ipswich. He was playing right back. He generally plays centre back, but because they've signed Issa Diop, he's moved out to right back. Did score. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. You could, if you're focused, and some people are doing bench boosting gimmick too, then you could have a commentary defender.
Okay. Well, for me, I will probably just do some research before the season starts and pick the one with the highest chance of getting DEFCONs. And that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to pick someone who starts. I'm not going to pick Issa Diop, though, because his ownership is really high. It's something like 15+%. And so that is price fall magnet waiting to happen. So
yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to midfield. And okay, so this is where our drafts are at, Sam. I've got slightly more midfielders than you have, it seems. I've got Sangare of Brentford, Bruno, Mbeumo, Zolis, and Ndai. You've got Mbeumo and Zolis as well, but Morgan Gibbs White. No Bruno Fernandes. I knew you had to do something weird like this. So let's hear it. Let's hear why you think Bruno Fernandes doesn't need to be in your team.
I think it's really expensive.
Who else are you going to spend the money on, mate?
Everyone else in my team, I guess. Okay,
I mean,
so I'm bench boosting in game week 1, right? So for defense, yes, I've gone DEFCONs with a longer term approach. But for midfielders, I feel to make the bench boost worth it, you got to try and increase your ceiling as high as you can. And of course, Bruno offers a great ceiling, but then you lose out. So I do not have a DEFCON midfielder. You're not showing my whole team yet, but I have Ndai and Pascal Gross on the bench. So all of them have like high ceilings, I guess, because all of them could haul in the first game week. So that's what I'm going for. Had to sacrifice Bruno to bring the level up of the other players. But as the season progresses, then yes, I will probably consolidate some money into Bruno most likely, and then downgrade one of them really to the lowest playing midfielder I can get.
I mean, sure, Sam, maybe you get away with this. And, he has missed 2 pens in a row, so maybe Bruno and Mbeumo's on pens. But not having Bruno Fernandes in game week 1 against Hull City, who, might I remind you, 4th worst defense in the championship. They are only here on a technicality, right? Because Southampton got thrown out and then they squeaked their way past Middlesbrough. They shouldn't even be here. And if you look at their team, their starting 11, you've not heard of a single Hull City player. There's literally nobody there who you know. Okay? I mean, you can go look at it now. You're not going to find a player who you know. Okay? They are going down, and you've decided, no, I don't need Bruno Fernandes for this game. This is where I'm going to make my saving. No, that's insane.
John Egan from Sheffield United.
Yes, Sheffield United like 5 years ago. That's my point, Sam. How can you not have Bruno Fernandes? There is no logical reason. Like, you want to cut someone out? I don't know, cut Haaland, cut Virgil, cut Gibbs White. There's so many people you cut before you get to Bruno Fernandes, mate.
Well, they have Ollie McBurney as their only forward in the game.
And he scored the win in the championship final, so fair play.
Why do they only have one forward?
They're going back down, mate. They're here to pick up the paycheck and they will go back down. They have not bought anybody. They've not done anything. They're going back down.
Oh, I think Bruno, I don't know. Bruno tends to start slow. Very coping. I think I'm just trying to cope. It's either Haaland or Bruno. I can't have both. And I would rather have Haaland in the first few game weeks than Bruno.
I'm really not. I'm struggling to see this, man. It's Hull City. Like, literally, United players have the best game. And you've gone with Bruno and Mbeumo, who's fine. Not even going to be your captain. And then Harry Maguire, okay. But, I mean, it's one pen.
Are you captaining Bruno over Haaland?
Game week 1. I mean, he's got my armband. Yeah. I mean, United, first of all, right? Legacy sort of, they get penalties for no reason. You get 2 pens in game week 1, which is really not inconceivable. He's caused them both. And basically, your season's already done before we've kicked the ball.
No. Okay. If it wasn't for my bench boost in game week 1, I would have Bruno. But like I said, I feel like to maximize this bench push, and maybe I'm overthinking things, right? Because bench push kind of pretty much never works out how you intend it to be. But like I said, I needed to increase the floor of my team. So that's what I did.
Yeah, there's a flaw in your team, all right, mate. That's
You say that, Siva. But I had a great game week 1 last year with this strategy. And then everything went downhill from there. But at least my game week 1 bench was worked out last year.
All right. So fair enough. We'll park the Bruno conversation there. Surprisingly, I guess we are in agreement on most of the other midfielders because you've got Mbeumo, I've got Mbeumo. You got to have Bruno and Mbeumo. He looks in good form preseason. Not that we care about preseason, but he was decent last season. Should be playing up top for a few games.
I actually had Mbeumo and Cunha in the place of Morgan Gibbs White. So
that's something.
It's the whole I can't get Bruno, so I'll just get the other 2 players and hope that they can cover his points. So that may be something I go back to, but I'm got a bit scared because Cunha has barely played in preseason.
And seems to come off early, right? Sometimes.
Yes. So that's why I went for MGW instead. Nail
Such a
talisman of the
boring pick,
team.
mate.
Is he boring? Does anyone else have Morgan Gibbs White?
Yeah, I know. Is that because he just feels like a really boring selection? I don't get why would you want Gibbs White. I mean, yeah, I suppose Forest have okay fixtures, but new
I think
manager.
a part of it, Siva, is that there are just no other players in that price bracket except for Mbeumo, Cunha, and Gibbs White.
How much is Gibbs White? I've not even checked.
8.
Oh, that feels really expensive for Gibbs White, mate.
Yeah, but at the same time, not really, because he's very consistently done well the past few seasons. Right? He finished with 188 points last year.
I don't know. I'm really reluctant to go hard on Forest early, not because I don't think Glasner's a good manager, but just I don't know how he affects their whole setup. Whether they make the wingbacks more relevant. Maybe Nico Williams is actually a good pick now. Does the attacking midfielder? I don't know. I just don't know. It's one of those I kind of want to wait and see.
Yeah, but he's still the talisman, right? So going back to talisman theory, which is probably something we haven't talked about for a few seasons, but you always want the talismanic attacker, even if it's a more mediocre team. But you want the person on corners, on pens, leader of the team, most likely will get bonus. If someone were to score or make something happen, it will be Gibbs White.
I'd rather just have Igor Jesus, and I wonder whether that is preseason hype or not.
I think it's
but,
But I'll admit, I was tempted by Igor Jesus. I had him in my team for a bit.
Yeah, that feels like the more popular pick. Let's talk about Zolis. Obviously, I'll put my hands up. I didn't consider Zolis until the Community Shield. Although he's got amazing stats. I think it's something like 40 goal returns last season, either goals or assists.
Yeah.
In the Belgian league, yeah, which is always a bit of a red flag, right? Belgian league, Portuguese league, Dutch league. We know the conversions don't really work out. Mentioned Darwin Núñez earlier, but great Community Shield. Martinelli does not seem to be playing, possibly linked to a move away. And again, Coventry, Game Week 1. I mean, I'm happy to chance one attacker.
Yep, I agree. I think Zolis has the makings of someone who hauls Game Week 1 and then you get
Never
no
see him
point
again.
Yeah. But that's what you want, right? Especially on the bench boost, number one. I had him in my team the moment I saw that he started the Community Shield. And then I got really annoyed when he did so well because now everyone has him. But he was doing well preseason, and like you said, Arsenal really don't have any other left wingers. I don't see Eze starting again. Arteta just doesn't like him.
Don't blame him, mate. I think a lot of Arsenal fans have issues with Eze. It's one of those. I think there's a lot of bad vibes before and after the UCL final. And I mean, positional discipline. And I guess Arteta's, replaced, Trossard with a slightly less sleepy version of him. And I think he's happy with it.
Yeah. So I think good pick, 6.5 as well. Low risk.
Yeah. Neither of us have Elliot Anderson. So was on corners for Man City, which I was really surprised to see. Obviously did well for DEFCONs against Arsenal. I think he played about 58 minutes and had about 8 DEFCONs. So don't know if that translates to regular DEFCONs. They are in the process of signing Bouwadi, who's another holding defensive kind of midfielder from Lille. Elliot Anderson, are you prepared to go back there?
I think Maresca's a fraud. So aside from Haaland, who will do well no matter what manager manages him, just not looking at any of the City players right now.
I mean, you say that, but Caicedo did pretty okay-ish in terms of DEFCONs, not the other stuff.
Maybe. But I don't know. Doesn't 6 mil feel a bit high just for someone who gets DEFCONs?
It worked last season because Anderson was able to chip in with assists. And I guess if he's on set pieces, you would assume, although City have never been really like a set piece focused team.
But I think towards the middle of the season, Anderson really became like that talisman for Forest. Like he was taking like set pieces and started being the creative heart of the team somehow. That won't happen in City.
Yeah,
So
it's one of
do
those I
feel,
just want to wait and see.
yeah.
I'm not saying that he'll be a bad pick. I just kind of want to wait and see how it fits out. We both have Ndai. Surprise, because this was not something I thought we would see eye to eye on. I mean, it's one of those, he feels like a fairly bad pick, but because he's cheap and he's on pens, I feel like I'm overlooking the fact that he's a bad pick.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad pick. I think it's a X6 mil, even if he, basically did what he did last year. 6 mil is pretty all right, I feel.
He
For
feels like one of
120.
those you're going to keep in your team for like weeks and weeks. He's not going to return. You're going to sell him and he's going to score the week after you sell him.
Yeah, that's true. But again, for me, I don't know why you went for Ndai, but for me, I just needed cheap players who has pretty good ceilings for the bench boost.
I'm just going there because Palace have looked awful preseason. I don't watch too much of preseason, but all the results have been bad. And I think, okay, why not? New manager, lost half their team, or lost at least the core of their team, the heart and soul of their team. Why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's honestly gonna be hard to call a lot of teams because so many teams have new managers this season, right? So having a team that is a known quantity like Everton, Brighton, does feel like the safe way to approach Game Week 1.
Yeah, I agree. Sankari, not much to talk about here. Everyone says that like he averaged 14 DEFCONs a game in League One. Don't know if that translates. Don't really care too much, to be honest with you. I'm willing to try 5.5 and 5.5 and below. I suppose I could go Pascal Gross. So maybe you tell me, is Pascal Gross like a pick I should be considering?
I think yes, but I have one caveat though, which is that they play their Conference League playoff like on Thursday, I
This
think.
week. Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah. So right before the game. So now Brighton fans say Gross is nil, right? He's fit despite being like 38 or something, despite being old. He's fit, so he has the fitness to do it. But at the same time, he is old. Like, I do think he'll start Game Week 1 though, at least. So that's fine. On all set pieces. So, Gross assists, Vuskovic. That's what I'm looking for.
All right. I like the vision that you're showing. Let's go to forward, Sam. Now let's start off with yours. One interesting pick, and I suppose two less interesting ones. You've got Haaland and João Pedro, which I see in everyone's draft. I just feel they don't. They wouldn't be the first names on my team sheet, to be honest with you. But let's chat me up about Igor Thiago, Sam.
I just think a lot of people are sleeping on him, right? But Brentford's forwards always do well. That's basically my logic, Siva. When has Brentford forward not done well?
That is a really good way of looking at it, right? Because Tony, then Mbeumo, and then Igor Thiago, they've all done well. Yeah, that's a really good way of looking at it. I think it's the World Cup because he was really good in the Premier League. Then he went to the World Cup. He had like 1.5 games where he looked absolute pants. Ancelotti like regretted all his life choices because he took him instead of João Pedro. And then like any transfer hype just died. But yeah, he's looked good in preseason. He is nailed. He will play. He is on pens. He's not getting a move anywhere else.
I think
maybe
his
I should
price
be
is
giving him more
expensive.
thought.
I think if he was cheaper, if he was 7.5, let's say, a lot of people would consider him more, I think. But most people are running with 2 forwards. And then they're like, okay, I already paying. Why pay 8 for Thiago when I have João Pedro for 7.5?
Yeah, 8 feels like quite an expense. I mean, the second most expensive forward in the game is,
which is I can't believe
insane.
No, that's not right. I mean, that's
third most expensive.
Yeah,
third most expensive.
But yeah, mostly to do with my bench boost, I guess. And I really don't like any of the options that is below João Pedro, DCL included, Siva.
Oh, I mean, DCL's first name on my team sheet, man. I'm not going to take this DCL and that. Now, I paid a lot. Some people may know, right? I was in like top 50K until like the last 3 weeks of last season. And a lot of the reason I went down and I did not hold my rank and I did not advance my rank was because of DCL. I kept doing this thing of where you've watched too much football and you think, oh, this guy's hamstrings must go. They never did.
You know what, Siva? I think I'm having the same thing because I did not have Igor Thiago last year, and my ranks suffered greatly for it because I was like, I don't need Thiago. I'll get Dango. It's fine. So I think it's the same thing here. Like, I'm not gonna make the same mistake this year. Get the Brentford
So
forward.
we're fixing our past errors here, and we sort of meet in the middle. But I think DCL to me at 6 million is like a no-brainer pick. Nailed on pens. He's been in good preseason form. His hamstrings have been fully rested. Tuchel didn't see the need to take him. Took Ivan Toney instead to the World Cup. Much good that did England.
For vibes.
For vibes. Good fixtures to start off. They haven't bought any other forwards, which I like. I mean, I think Calvert-Lewin at 6 mil is hard to turn down. And the good thing is there are other 6 million forwards. Now, you say there's no other options, but you can go down to Brian Brobby. Issue with Brian Brobby is he comes off on 70 minutes a lot, which is why he's not in my team because Isidore keeps coming on. But you've also got the new Fulham guy, Gonzalez Garcia from Real Madrid, right? They've spent like 60, 70 mil on him. Apparently, he's been like honed for this moment, and he's got Arbeloa, all that Real Madrid DNA.
First of all, I think Arbeloa's a bad manager, number one. Number two,
Based on what, mate?
Fulham has horrible fixtures, man. Horrible.
I think
Chelsea, Sunderland, Palace, Liverpool, United. That's their first 5.
Yeah, which is why you have DCL to start off, and then you buy Garcia in Game Week 6. Ipswich, Hull, Coventry, back to back to back. Oh, that's amazing, man.
Yeah. Maybe by then. I don't know.
Yeah, and if Arbeloa is as bad as you say, new manager bounce. Perfect.
Maybe. I will say I'm intrigued by Wissa, who apparently is the starting forward for Newcastle now. Because if he can capture back his form, I'm not going to start Game Week 1 with Wissa, right? But somehow I'll keep an eye on, because if he can recapture his form at 6 mil, that's really cheap. But I don't know how good or bad Newcastle is going to be this season with their new manager. So
let's talk about Isak, since you mentioned Newcastle. I'm seeing a lot of no Haaland drafts, and the money seems to be largely going towards Isak and Szoboszlai and Virgil. And I really, really cannot get on board with any of this. Like, I don't see what has changed about Liverpool that I should feel better about them. Yes, they sacked the manager, but they have not really bought anyone of significance. It still looks like a really lopsided squad, now managed by somebody who's way more demanding. Like, I don't see Isak tracking back and doing all this pressing that Evan Nilsson was going to do. Brother literally has no knees, no hamstrings, nothing. I don't even think he's the same player who they bought. I don't buy Szoboszlai. It's big. We skipped Szoboszlai, which neither of us are convinced, but I see him in a lot of drafts. I just don't get any of the hype for Liverpool.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forgot because Irola ended up being really good, like towards the end of his tenure at Bournemouth. But a lot of people forget that at the start they were really, really bad. Like, if I'm not
Didn't
mistaken,
win
he was
any of their first 9.
Yeah, because heavily reliant on systems, and it takes time for the team. Granted, he did come in like in the middle of the season for Bournemouth, if I remember correctly.
Early-ish.
But again,
Gary O'Neill.
Liverpool did not have the players to fit his system, right? And like you said, they've barely reinforced. So I can see them taking time to play the way he wants, if they ever get there, and take it from a fan of a team who tried getting system managers in, right? It takes longer than you expect. So yeah, I'm not keen on Isak. I have Virgil, but mostly it's like nostalgia and just, again, going back to trying to increase the floor and ceiling of my team for Game Week 1. Like, I can see Liverpool conceding 2, but Virgil scoring 2, right? If there's any defender of the game who it might happen to, it will be Virgil, right?
Yeah, I just can see a universe where Isak ends up getting benched for Gakpo. If Gakpo stays, there's so much rumors around that team. They haven't really replaced Salah. Yeah, I'm not just not keen to start off with any Liverpool attackers to begin.
Same.
Haaland, João Pedro. Now, I guess hard to make a case. Let's talk about João Pedro being the easier one. 7.5 just feels like too good a price.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? He had 177 points last year. If he goes down and he scores 150, I think at 7.5 you'll still be happy with that. Like, it just feels way too cheap for what he can offer as the starting forward of a top 6 team.
Yeah, I agree. And coming to Haaland, I guess it's just captaincy. Even though he's that expensive, we kind of just want somebody to captain. I mean, what, they play Coventry in game week 3?
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't look that far. I got Haaland in because he will smash game week 1 as he always does, and I want that on my bench boost.
Yeah,
That's
I'm not too
basically my
concerned about
thinking.
the. Yeah, I'm not too concerned about the Maresca factor. If Haaland can do it with Solbakken and Norway, I'm sure he can do it with even a very bad manager. And I don't think Maresca's a bad manager. He just got outclassed by Arteta. It's a much more settled team. It's a preseason game that doesn't really matter. Yeah.
I do agree on this side, and I think it's like a lot of people are harping on about how bad City was, but they played the best team in the country, right? Like Arsenal, we talk a lot about how other teams have new managers. Now Arsenal is settled. Their team barely changed. Same manager, same tactics. Everyone comes back from the break and they all know immediately what to do. So I don't think that's any harm or it's that bad of a thing to lose 3-0 to the defending Champions League finalists. So I think people are reading too much into that in terms of how bad City were.
Yeah. I think most importantly, we just want to see Haaland get minutes, and that's good enough for me. He's got minutes. That means he starts game week 1. I think you take it from there. Let's talk the bench boost. Your bench boost not as good as mine. Let's be real. You've got Verbruggen and Dye, Gross, O'Shea. I've got much better Verbruggen, Haaland, João Pedro, and Leif Davis. It's really disappointing that having not spoken for like 3 weeks, Sam, having not watched much preseason, having not really chatted at all, we have basically the same team.
I don't know about basically, but I'm upset that we have the same keepers. But at the same time, there are so few options, so you're bound to end up with the same. I'm happy that you don't have Thiago. Like that feels like a good differential, like a nice differential. I'm upset that you haven't died. Because I thought that would be a differential.
Yeah. I'm impressed that the only real difference in our bench boost is the position of our Ipswich defender. But I'll tell you why I have Leif Davis, and I've put a lot of thought into this. I looked up Leif Davis, and he is a boyhood Newcastle fan, and he absolutely hates Sunderland. He was giving an interview in the summer about which is the team he most wants to play against. He said, Sunderland, I want to score against them.
Okay.
Good enough for me, man.
Sounds good, actually. And very attacking, right? Had some insane numbers.
19 assists 2 seasons ago, much less last season, but under Gary O'Neill, maybe new enterprising manager, all that blue core DNA, opening game, takes a shot, all the hatred coursing through his veins. Newcastle fans really hate Sunderland for some reason.
Yes,
so
they do. Yeah. One person we didn't talk about, Siva. Sorry, going back to midfielders, Morgan Rogers. Not feeling it?
I'm an Arsenal fan, right? So I must watch what I say here. It's not bias. Not that he's picked the worst team or he's followed the money or anything like that. I don't know. Chelsea, to be honest with you, I didn't have João Pedro in my first draft, and he's only made it into my second draft just because, you don't want to think too much about preseason, but he's just been that good, and I've sort of thought about the value proposition. You just can't not have him. Rogers, on the other hand, feels like a lot because Chelsea do play Arsenal in Game Week 3, and to have 2 attackers from a team against, that's playing Arsenal feels like a lot. But maybe I'm overthinking it because in Game Week 4 they play Hull. Also, as you can see, Sam, I've kept Bruno, so I don't have the budget to get to Rogers, basically.
That's true. I have considered
Maybe one for you.
Going down. I think he looks pretty good. I think he should be nailed. But at the same time, with a new manager, I'm not sure if I have enough confidence, despite how good, Alonso is. Do I have the confidence to put in 2 attackers from them?
That feels like a lot. Yeah. Especially Game Week 1, it's a derby against Fulham, Arbeloa against Alonso, all the Real Madrid players on the Arbeloa camp got to be extra motivated. I feel like one attacker is enough.
That's true. That's true. All right. Is that it? No love
That was
for I don't know. Arsenal.
Palmer, Foden. I mean,
Yeah. Foden. A lot of people talking about Foden. I don't see it.
they're
don't think
not
it's
out anymore after yesterday's game. Man. I mean, they all saw that game and have quietened down again. There's honestly just not many other picks I would even consider. Christian Norgard was in a couple of drafts, but he's injured now. I mean, once again, it does feel like the pricing has kind of screwed us over here because it's sort of limited our choices. Apart from defense, where we talked a lot about DEFCON guys, non-DEFCON guys, some fullbacks, some expensive defenders. Midfield and attack feels really constrained by the template.
I have a name. Enzo Lefebvre.
I did have him a lot of my early drafts. Yeah, I did have him in my first draft, definitely.
6 mil pen taker, apparently. Maybe.
Yep, yes.
Corners.
Attacking midfielder for Sunderland. Good fixture to start off with. I just don't know how good a fixture it is, right? Ipswich away sounds like a good fixture, but don't know. And also they have Europe, right? Sunderland. So question about minutes, I guess. Enzo Lefebvre, apart from Enzo Lefebvre, Ismail Assar. I'm surprised neither of us have Ismail Assar because he's been so consistent over the last few seasons.
I think with Glasner is a big part of how Palace playing, and without Glasner, I don't think Palace will be as good as we remember them to be last year.
I mean, since we've discussed most of the FPL picks, let's just talk general stuff, Sam. Who are the 3 teams that are going down?
Oh, Hull, Ipswich. I'm going to go really uncontroversial, but I think it's going to be Hull, Coventry, and Ipswich. I don't think any of them are really good enough to stay up. But if I had to pick a non-promoted team, I feel like Fulham. I feel Fulham like this is it. You know, they've done pretty well the past few seasons. Yeah, Marco Silva kept them up. Without Marco Silva, you look at their squad, and I don't think they have the quality to be here to stay in the Premier League.
I mean, yeah, I think we're all in agreement. It's probably Hull, Ipswich. I think Crystal Palace, man. I think Crystal Palace. We'll replay this in 38 weeks' time. But I think Palace have lost a lot. They've lost Lacroix, they've lost Gahey, they've lost Glasner. They're going to lose Danny Munoz. They're losing what made them the team that they are. I think that's going to come back and haunt them.
Yep, I can agree. So Fulham and Palace, right? That's our 2 picks, basically.
Okay, we'll revisit this time. I don't think there's much else to talk about. I mean, captaincy, you've gone Haaland because you don't have Bruno. Pretty standard.
No, but I got Haaland because of the captaincy. Right? On Game Week 1, I don't think there's anyone else you should captain except Haaland.
I mean, it's you're so wrong, man. And see, relegated team, immediately you went to Hull. Like you'll connect the dots soon enough. You've got time. Friday's a long way.
That's why I have Mbeumo on my team, bro. So it's fine. Coverage.
Mbeumo.
No. Not in Game Week 1. Like I've been burned by Haaland in Game Week 1 like countless times, Siva. Okay. Going back to same as you when I went Darwin Núñez over Haaland after that Community Shield like 3 years back.
Yeah, we're not doing that again. We never really discussed the bench boost, but I guess for you and me, it's just not really a conversation, right? We just want to, it's a stupid chip and we want to get it out of the way, right?
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but I did really well with it last year. So I think number one, because you have 2 bench boosts, right, this year, same as last year, it makes sense to just play it. And you don't want to carry the value in your team like halfway, right? Like you don't have to like, oh, I got to buy a good bench player and stuff. So I think doing Game Week 1, where it's the easiest to set out your team, and then slowly shed the extra fats, you know, like downgrade some players and start consolidating the funds into positions that are locked. So I think that's the way to go. That's the most efficient use of money. So bench boost GameWeek 1.
Okay, all right. I think that's all from us this week, Sam.
Yeah, I think so.
But in the
And-
meantime,
Get your green arrows, guys. And we'll see you for GameWeek 2.